Good morning, English 112. This is Miss White. I thought I would make a quick video about how not to fail your paper. I know that sounds kind of funny, and I meant it to be a little attention grabber, but these are some serious concepts. More and more, it seems like students have been under the impression that if I just changed a few words of my source in a research paper, I'll be fine. But that's not really the case. So I thought maybe I would just be clear. That way we'll dispel some rumors that are maybe out there on the internet. But how not to fail your paper. Do not plagiarize. So let's talk specifically about that. How can we not plagiarize? What about accidental plagiarism, and what is that? So first of all, accidental plagiarism is just what it says. It's you don't mean to, you're just not doing what you need to do to cite your sources, and ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? So we must know the law, and the law states that if you use someone else's words or ideas, that's the kicker here, ideas, right? You may change the words, but it's still someone else's ideas. You must use an in-text citation and then cite, of course, you do the full text citation at the end of the paper. And if you're using MLA format, you will use the works cited page. If you're using APA format, you would be using the references page. So let me just give you like the top 3 things that you need to remember to avoid plagiarism, especially when you're paraphrasing. The big thing is block quotes are really looked down upon, like the big block quotes of 4 lines or more. If you would like to use a direct quote, put quotation marks around it and make sure you put your in-text citation, of course, at the end of the sentence before the period. And you can go to the Purdue OWL website and it will give you more information on how to do that. Very clear. But let's talk about paraphrasing just for a second. Let's say you found information that you want to include in your research paper. How do I do that without getting in trouble, right? It's easy, right? You just, of course, change the words, right? Put it in your own words. Make sure make sure you don't use 2 of their words that are the same together, if that makes sense. Put it all in your own words. But you still have to use an in-text citation behind it. So if it's MLA format, the in-text citation would look like the author's last name, and then a space, no comma, just a space, right? And then the page number if there is one. Of course, if it's a website or a web article, it may not have a page number, so you would just have the author's last name in the parentheses and the period. APA format, you would use, of course, the author's last name, comma, and then the year that the source was written. So let's say the source, this article was written in 2018 by me, then it would be White, comma, 2018, all in parentheses before the period at the end of the sentence. And that would just come after the paraphrased material. So it's not that hard. But I just want to be clear because I know some of you may not know this information. So we mentioned quotes, we mentioned paraphrasing. The most important thing that you need to remember is that everything you use in your paper, you must include it at the end in either that works cited page if it's MLA format or reference page if it's APA format. And make sure you do it correctly, because if you don't cite it correctly in the right format, if you leave out chunks of information, then we really can't find that source, can we? So when I go back and I want to see exactly where this particular piece of information came from, I'm going to look it up on the internet, but then maybe I can't find it because you left off this big chunk of information. So we actually do that. We track these things down. Not because we want to check behind you, but because we're interested and we want to see how you did it. We want to see your thought process behind the paper. So part of writing in English 112, part of it is research, and the research is going to take a long time. But just know there are ways that will also help you. Do not have your piece of research, do not have your source right there beside you as you're writing, because our brains, typically if we read something a certain way, we might want to write it a certain way. So that's my tip for you. Be careful. Maybe read it, put it down, and then come back to it in a few minutes. Put it in your own words in your paper, and that will also help you with your paraphrasing. But the key is just not to have the same words, okay? But you're still using the idea, so you must throw an in-text citation at the end of the sentence, and then of course the coordinating citation at the end of the paper on that works cited or references page. So I hope this helped. I hope you see it's not complicated at all. Just I think it's kind of, this might be a cheesy example, but it's kind of like, you know, if you wrote something, do you want other people taking your ideas? Do you want other people taking your words? Of course not, right? So kind of the whole golden rule, I tell my children, treat others the way you want to be treated kind of thing. Yeah, so you're using someone else's words or ideas, right? Give them credit for it. So if you have any other questions, feel free to email me. And good luck on your upcoming papers. Your essay prompt should be below in the module. Bye.